Scott, you up?
Good.
You're up?
Good to go.
This is us. Let's do it.
All right. Good morning, and thank you all for coming. My name is Renee Flaherty, and that's spelled Reneeflaherty. I'm a senior attorney at the Institute for Justice. The Institute for Justice is the national law firm for liberty. For 35 years, we've defended individual rights in cases of government abuse. We work in a few areas, property rights, free speech, and the area that we're here to talk about today, which is the right to earn an honest living in the occupation of your choice. I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Matt Lyles, to tell you more about the particular case that we're here to talk about today. And then he's going to introduce our clients, Candy and Todd, so that they can tell their story. Thank you. And then we can answer any questions that you might have.
Hey, good morning. Thank you all for being here. My name is Matt Lyles, and I'm an attorney with the Institute for Justice. That's MATTLILES. A casket is just a box. Oklahoma doesn't regulate casket design or casket manufacturing. It doesn't even require a casket for burial. An Oklahoman can be buried in a casket, a shroud, or literally nothing at all. But Oklahoma bans anyone other than a licensed funeral director from selling caskets to the public. Not because caskets threaten the public in any way, but solely to protect the private financial interests of the funeral industry. Several years ago, our clients Candy Mintink and Todd Collard started their own business making affordable, custom-wrapped caskets. From their workshop in Calvin, Oklahoma, Candy and Todd can sell their caskets to people in almost any state, but they can't sell their caskets to people who live right across the street from them. To do that, Oklahoma requires Candy and Todd to become licensed funeral directors, which means spending years taking classes on things like embalming and handling human remains, and working full-time in a funeral home, doing things like supervising funerals. And they would also have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars transforming their workshop in Calvin into a fully equipped funeral home, all just to sell a casket. And Candy and Todd found out the hard way that their business was illegal. The Oklahoma Funeral Board came after them and sought to impose devastating fines on them just because Candy and Todd wanted to sell affordable caskets to the public. But you shouldn't need a license to sell a box. Licensing exists to protect the public, not to stifle honest competition. Oklahoma's licensing laws for casket sales don't benefit anyone other than licensed funeral directors, and they harm the public because they drive up the cost of caskets. That's why today we sued the Oklahoma Funeral Board. The Oklahoma Constitution protects your right to earn an honest living without unnecessary government restrictions. Almost every court across the country that has reviewed laws like Oklahoma's has struck them down as unconstitutional. We're committed to breaking Oklahoma's casket cartel and vindicating the basic economic freedom of entrepreneurs across Oklahoma. This case is going to answer an important question. Can the state of Oklahoma crush small businesses just to protect industry insiders from competition? Thank you. And we're going to turn it over to Candy and Todd now to speak.
Good morning. I am Candy Mintink, CandyMintink. And our goal is to get this change not only for ourselves, but for our fellow Oklahomans. It's something that needs to change for the entire state. We should be able to sell our caskets to our friends, our family, anyone in the state of Oklahoma, and not have to do it out of another state.
I'm Todd Collard, TODDCOLLARD, and this has been a long fight. We fought this at the legislature, and this is just our next step to try to change this law. And we just want to be where anybody can sell a casket. Any questions or anything we can answer for you guys?
I've got one. You said you went to the legislature, and I laws changed up there. What were you told as far as the opposition to having something like this? Were you told anything specific?
Well, their opposition was they come up with all kinds of lame things. You know, the bottom might fall out of it or the manufacturing process, but we're actually use the same caskets that they do, and we just put a wrap on them. So that it's a pretty lame response from them, you know. But
the funeral board it told me, and it could be a response from either. They told me that the current law's background is to protect consumers from overreaching sales tactics, and they say, quote, as you could imagine, when losing a loved one, many individuals experience grief, possibly not think clearly when making decisions, and then they say there was a case that came in the early 2000s. I just wanted to get response. It could be either one, Treasurer, you guys, just to that specific pushback, I guess.
well, as far as that sales tactic, we sell ours online. The prices are online. We don't even talk to them before they call and order one from us. So all our caskets are priced the same. They're the ones that have different price sheets for different customers when they come in, and they have different caskets and how they display them.
We don't plan the funeral. We just talk to the family to see what they want for the design.
Yeah.
We just tell us about your loved one. What were they passionate about? What did they love, in order to give us an idea as what to do on the casket.
I could respond to that
Sure.
too. Sure. So, on average, funeral homes mark up the price of caskets they sell by about 300%. And for the last few decades, the federal government has regulated funeral homes and funeral directors because they take advantage of the leverage they have over the funeral planning process to try to force consumers to buy all of their products and services from the funeral home, including a casket. There's no reason to require years of specialized training and things that have nothing to do with selling caskets just to sell a casket. And so, yeah, there's really nothing grounded in consumer protection, public health, or safety. A casket is fundamentally a box. And to the extent, you know, the funeral board or anyone thinks that you need access to a funeral home or a funeral director to buy a casket, funeral homes already charge consumers like a mandatory services fee to have access to a funeral director throughout the planning process. So to the extent someone wants or needs advice on buying a casket from a funeral home, they already have access to a funeral home. There's no reason to require a specialized license to sell a casket.
Y'all had y'all kind of talked about in your media advisory about this experience with this investigator who went undercover. Can you talk about a little bit what that was like and what the finding process, kind of that whole situation was like?
Yes, we was at the Tulsa State Fair. I believe it was in 21. Yeah, I think I was here. Anyway, a gentleman come up and talked to us about a casket, told us his dad was dying, and anyway, kind of give us what he wanted on it, and we told him we could make it for him. And he left, and then come back a few minutes later, showed an ID to us, showing he was a investigator or whatever for the funeral board, and pulled me to the side and told me I immediately had to shut down and leave the fair. My naive response was, I built these, why can't I show them to the public, you know? That's how that kind of went down up there at the fair, and then later, within 30 days, we received our fine and everything, and that started the whole process of getting lawyers to intervene for us.
Now, as for the law, were y'all aware at all about you weren't
No.
allowed?
No. I didn't know you couldn't build something and sell it. I mean, I just think it's a crazy law, but that doesn't mean it's not a law.
Now, when you say build something, do you, for some big time clarification, do you actually put that casket together? What is your process? How do you build it from scratch, cut all the wood? Do you order it? What do you do?
Or do you just specifically do the wraps?
So we basically do the wrap. We buy these caskets. They're
It's the
same ones they
casket.
buy. They're ready to use. They got interiors, and we strip them down to the base metal, and then we start all over. She sews all the interiors and everything, which you can see in here. Candy sews all this, puts all this together, and then I do the wrap and the design and paint the hardware and do all that stuff.
That'd be great. So when you say you buy the same ones, you buy the same ones that a funeral home would
Yes.
purchase. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Same
Just to clarify.
caskets
Yeah,
that they
yeah.
have. There's really only two major manufacturers in the United States, and they only sell to funeral homes. And then you have a bunch of smaller independents and they import caskets, which almost all caskets anymore are imported. Batesville, Matthews, they all build their caskets. Not all of them, but they build a lot of the metal ones in Mexico. So there's really no, everybody's selling the same thing.
I'll talk several.
So what type of process, how long does it take once you get this casket in and somebody says, I want it to be wrapped with God Bless America, everything that's on that?
So
how long of a process, how much sweat and blood do you put into that?
yeah, it's about a 48-hour process. We offer a 2-day turnaround. So they call us. It takes a few hours to get the design down. We talk to them back and forth, send them some proofs, and then once they sign off on that proof, from that point, it's about 48 hours to get it wrapped and sewed to interior. And then on the third day, we're generally shipping it, which we ship pretty much everything out of Dallas-Fort Worth Airport.
How long y'all been in business?
We started building them or wrapping them 2017. It's toward the end of 16, 17, right in there. And when we started, we was only selling to funeral homes. And then when we went to the fair, we was just really trying to show them to the public. But then this whole battle has started over not, being able to sell to the public, or it really is display to the public, and that's how it all started.
What is y'all's kind of end goal here, kind of in from your perspective, other than, obviously y'all want to be able to sell to your fellow Oklahomans, but why is that so important to you?
But
Very passionate about this because we see what this does for families, how it helps. Firsthand, our own family members and then friends that have used our caskets. It's a game changer. And we've had such an amazing response from the families that have used our caskets that please continue what you're doing. You don't know what a difference this made for, our family and our friends, and it's an amazing last impression.
Mr. Lyles, what is the litigation process?
Oh, sure. So we filed a complaint last night in the Oklahoma County District Court. The funeral board will have a chance to respond to that in the next few weeks, and then we'll fight it out. We're willing to take this to the Oklahoma Supreme Court if we have to, because it's, this case is about caskets and it's about the funeral industry, but it's also about entrepreneurs across Oklahoma, kind of the basic economic freedom you have as an Oklahoman to start a business and try to compete honestly. But we'll have updates eventually on the litigation. Sometimes it's a little slow, but we're confident.
So what is going to be like, I know you may not be able to get into, what's going to be your main argument in there against this and why this law shouldn't be on the books?
Mm-hmm. So the Oklahoma Constitution protects your right to earn an honest living. If the state of Oklahoma wants to restrict that right or even ban you from starting your own business, it has to have a good reason. That reason has to be tied to protecting public health or safety, protecting Oklahoma consumers. And we know from experience and just the nature of caskets, a casket is just a box. There's no reason for the state of Oklahoma to essentially give an exclusive cartel to funeral directors to sell caskets. No one's harmed by Candy and Todd running their small business and selling affordable caskets. So, and in fact, Oklahoma's laws harmed consumers in Oklahoma because they drive up the price of funerals and caskets in the state. So that'll be it. It's grounded in the right to earn an honest living.
So how much cheaper can you sell an individual this casket? I know you said you were selling them to funeral homes, but have you sold to individuals, and how much of a savings are they looking at versus buying from a funeral home?
Well,
how
there's
far can we go with that?
there's basically no markup because there's no middleman involved, and the funeral home is the middleman. And so, hypothetical, say the casket's $3,000, well, the funeral home gets it, and then they want to mark it up. They're not paying that markup, buying directly from us.
We want an affordable option for families. This is not the time to take advantage at all.
And we don't sell just plain caskets. All we sell is these wrapped caskets. We don't, I mean, we're not into selling a plain red casket or pink casket or something. It's just the custom caskets.